Welcome to Dai Headlines. I'm Dennis Wu. Thank you for joining us. We have updates from Tzu Chi volunteers in Australia on how they are coping with the terrible flooding in Queensland. In Malaysia, Tzu Chi volunteers help a welfare home for disabled children in Ipoh clean up after it was damaged in a blaze earlier in the week. And we travel to Yunnan, China, where a school near Kunming provides education for impoverished children free of charge, and the principal alone has taken in nearly 40 orphans under his care. As the world watches the Australia floods in awe, the local Tzu Chi chapters have already mobilized. Emergency command centers have already been established in Brisbane, Gold Coast, and Sydney to coordinate with the relief effort in the center in Taiwan, which already has supplies ready to deliver to hard-hit Queensland. Working with the local Red Cross, Tzu Chi service stations will also be established in temporary shelters. As more areas are flooded, the occupants in shelters across Brisbane quickly increase in numbers. Setting up service stations across the shelters, Tzu Chi will provide blankets, emergency cash, and food to the flood victims. Volunteers from Sydney and Gold Coast have also established their own emergency command center to provide their counterparts in Brisbane with the necessary support and supplies. A welfare home for disabled children in Ipoh, Malaysia, where over 50 children were staying, went up in flames a few days ago. The youngest of the students was only a few months old. Luckily, no one was injured. With help from Tzu Chi volunteers to assist with the cleanup, the children were able to return to the home and continue with their lives.
After a fire devastated a handicapped children's welfare home in Ipoh, Malaysia, over 50 of its students had nowhere to go. The children were saved by their director, Zhang Guoliang.
During the fire, a few children were left inside and they couldn't get out on their own. I ran in and took them out and pushed them away in a wheelchair. They were frightened, but it's all right, I'm not tired. It's important that they all came out safe.
Thankfully, everyone survived the blaze. Knowing that Zhang and the children were not able to clean up themselves, over 20 volunteers arrived to give a helping hand.
I'm very pleased and very grateful to you, Tzu Chi. Thanks to your master. Really, I'm thankful.
As volunteers finish cleaning up the children's home, all hope that the students will happily return with their smiles.
Over last weekend, 10 hairdressers from Luzhou district in Taipei, Taiwan, followed Tzu Chi volunteers on a trip to a local nursing home. Everyone's mission was to give the residents a present for the Chinese New Year, a new haircut.
Normally at work after 9 a.m, this morning hairdressers in Luzhou of Taipei, Taiwan got up early to join Tzu Chi volunteers on a trip to a nursing home. 10 professional stylists are giving senior residents a new look before the new year.
We're giving all the senior residents beautiful haircuts because New Year is coming soon. We're happy to help, happier than them.
Before the haircut, everyone's hair looked messy. Now after the cut, you all look much younger, 10 years younger.
The free haircut service is the best present the elderly people can ask for.
They all have a content smile. That's what makes me most happy.
Senior resident Chen Jin shares her tips to a happy life.
We're getting old now. It's our responsibility to take good care of ourselves. That's the greatest happiness.
Showing that blessings follow when we open our hearts, senior residents sing together and welcome the new year with joy and hope.
Staying in Taiwan, as people wrap themselves up tightly in winter warmers to fight the cold, Tzu Chi volunteers in the central region of the island paid a visit to the Daming nursing home in Taichung to bring some warmth to the seniors. But before that, we follow another team of caregivers to the Old 5-Old nursing home in Lugang, Zhanghua County, to wish the elderly residents a happy Chinese New Year.
Here in Zhanghua, central Taiwan, the music, songs and companionship provided by volunteers are brightening up the day for the residents of the Old 5-Old nursing home. Rubbing seniors' hands to transfer some warmth, caregivers hope to bring them some emotional comfort. Games are a favorite among the elderly residents because it is exercise and laughter all in one. And as spiritual maintenance is just as important as the physical one, volunteers offer an inspirational advice.
What we should try to achieve is spiritual conservation, which means we must protect our hearts from negative thoughts and always wish people the best.
To celebrate the upcoming Lunar New Year, the volunteers brought some very special mementos. A heartfelt embrace is all it takes to reduce the seniors to tears.
Most old people have limited mobility. This morning, all of them seem to be in a really good mood because of the volunteer brothers and sisters. I think they're very helpful in that they bring so much laughter and happiness to this place.
Treating all grandpas and grandmas like their own, another group of Central Taiwan volunteers arrived at the Daming nursing home in Taichung. The sign language song performance has seniors moving with the beat. For those who are bedbound and thus cannot watch the show, red wisdom and blessings envelopes are delivered to them. More than just charity visits to the homes, these gatherings are an affirmation of true human warmth and love.
On this day, the 14th of January, in Taiwan, the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital signed an agreement with the Hospice Foundation of Taiwan to promote palliative care, along with 10 other hospitals on this day in 1992. By 1996, the hospital had established the hospice ward. As other Tzu Chi hospitals were being built, each would eventually have their own hospice ward to deliver palliative care to those at the end of their lives. To help the North Koreans endure the winter, Tzu Chi shipped 30 containers worth of winter clothes and food from Taiwan. Every item was carefully packed for easy distribution. The aid program continued uninterrupted until 2009. A rhesus monkey was cloned in the United States by employing an embryo splitting technique. It was the first primate to be cloned, following the successful cloning of a sheep in 1997, and got people discussing the legality of human cloning. The Canadian Red Cross awarded a Community Service Award to Tzu Chi for its years of caring for the elderly, the homeless and children in need, by setting up volunteer stations in local communities and teaming up with the Salvation Army. The influenza A virus subtype H5N1, known as bird flu, was confirmed to be spreading in Asia, causing a total of 23 deaths. 100 billion fowls were put to death in an attempt to contain the outbreak, which was under control by March of the same year. Billions were spent to battle the highly contagious disease.
In Canada, Tzu Chi has been cooperating with the local Salvation Army, which is a Christian church founded in the United Kingdom, to provide for the homeless in Vancouver for over 15 years. At first, the volunteers were afraid that the switch to a vegetarian diet would startle their new friends, but eventually decided to stay true to their ideals and began providing only meat-free dishes, which the homeless had no problem accepting. The volunteers even began carrying out annual winter relief distribution to make the cold season more bearable. For the past 15 years at the Salvation Army's kitchen in Vancouver, Canada, Tzu Chi volunteers can be seen taking on the kitchen duty and cranking out delicious hot meals one after another.
I'm overjoyed. To get here every time I have to wake up very early, but after doing the work I actually feel more energized than ever. It feels wonderful to serve so many people and offer them a delicious meal.
A simple hot meal magically brings immense joy to those who serve and those who receive. For the secret ingredient used is but sincere love. Volunteers from all walks of life relish the chance to give selflessly.
I feel great, and I think you guys are doing an excellent job helping people, and I would like to be a part of it.
Homeless people can be found throughout the world's metropolitans. In Vancouver, Tzu Chi expanded its aid to these vagrants by holding the annual winter relief distribution.
他们的家当都摆在那个 supermarket 篮子。
好。
Blessing. Thank you, Daddy.
It's nice, that.
Nice color. Yes.
Say we can take us a little break.
Excellent. Excellent. Now I know.
We'd like to thank the Sushi Foundation for their coming and for the present. And thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your coming.
Thank you.
Although the homeless comes and goes, their happiness is remembered by those who have cared for them for 15 years.
When they received their own jacket, they were all really happy, each and every one of them. At that distribution point, they all said the jacket is truly wonderful.
What left an impression on me this time was the socks. Those who came to get their supplies pretty much had no socks to wear. I don't know if it's because theirs got wet or got lost. They really appreciate what we gave them.
I hope you are happy every day. Anytime.
Dominican Republic Tzu Chi volunteers have been spreading Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirit around the community, this time at the largest newspaper in the nation, the Listing Diario. After the cultural editor met Tzu Chi a year ago, he began asking his staff to contribute to bamboo coin banks. Today, over 150 staff, and including the newspaper's chief editor, have joined the good cause, which brought changes to the busy news office.
Here at the Listing Diario newspaper office in the Dominican Republic, the atmosphere is different. Putting the words of wisdom on their computer screens, employees learn a new Jingsi aphorism every day. The cultural editor of the paper began promoting charity donations a year ago. From the chief editor to copywriters, over 150 people all joined the good cause. Tzu Chi's coin banks bring the volunteers and the newspaper staff one step closer to each other.
As part of Tzu Chi's nationwide winter distribution in China, on Monday, January 10th, an aid relief program was held at Dexin Elementary and Middle School in Kunming of Yunnan Province. Today we go back to Kunming to get a better understanding about the lives of the students. 90% of the 500 or so students come from low-income families that rely on manual labor for a living.
Most of the manual laborers here in Yunnan's Kunming are poor and from out of town. They live in shacks and earn only enough to not go hungry.
We're so lucky to have met the principal, Mr. Lee, who has been letting my children go to school for free for many years. Otherwise, I would not have been able to afford their tuition.
Life may be hard, but at least there is food on the table. However, the same cannot be guaranteed for some 20 children in the Dexin school whose parents or guardians salvage car stoves for a living. Having a tent as her home, third grader Wang Xingping has been dependent on her adoptive grandmother, Wang Guifen, for 9 years.
I raise her so we can keep each other company. I used to be all alone. I give her 50 cents a day for food, and she uses that to buy a steamed bun in the morning. That's all the food she gets in a day.
Miss Wang makes around 1.5 renminbi a day from scavenging. Every day after school, Xingping immediately gets to work helping her grandma sort recyclables. Yet the pair has the school to thank for free education.
The principal waived her school fees. He's so kind, and so are the teachers. Had it not been for this school, I don't know where she can get an education. Nevertheless, if that were the case, I'd still find a school.
Impoverished as the family may be, the arrival of Miss Wang's biological grandchild here a few months ago brought even more love to the household.
那鸡就养在你的床面前。
你不带放出的吗？租不起房子了，太贵了，100多块钱一个月。
这个帐篷是你自己搭的？
我自己搭了，这些是人家给我了。
The school's principal, Li Yuxiang, not only let Xingping study for free, but also visits her family every month. Neighbors are also taking it upon themselves to care for the small family, even teaching Miss Wang how to grow vegetables.
人活着要吃东西。
You need to eat to survive, but there's no harm in living in a tent. At any rate, food is vital, so for the past 2 years, I've been teaching her how to grow food in the fields.
Here in this community, where the collectivist culture ensures all are being taken care of, poor children grow up with little luxury but plenty of love and a free education that gives them the courage to dream big.
Tzu Chi volunteers first came into contact with Dexin School when they went there last year, and discovered the principal was looking after a dozen orphans. Since then, the caregivers have been going to the school every week. The kind-hearted school principal has inspired many people to volunteer at his school.
Here in West China, Li Yuxiang has been taking in orphans since he was 20, caring for nearly 40 in all. Among the 11 children in his school today, one is his daughter, but no one can tell who is his own and who is adopted.
We share things to eat. They are used to it. This is my own child. She's growing up in the same environment.
The principal of Dexin School near Kunming treats his adopted children like his own. Touched by his kindness, the teacher has plenty of support from people like overseas Taiwanese businessman Yang Yimin, who joined Tzu Chi as a member 3 years ago in Singapore and was delighted to see volunteers helping the school.
It was fate. By chance, at the end of the year one time, I came here to see my goddaughter and met Tzu Chi volunteers. I was really very happy to see the blue and white and gray uniforms, and volunteers wearing vests. Principal Li is blessed.
Local volunteers are committed to serving at Dexin School, coming every week to bathe the children, wash their clothes and teach them good manners, and most importantly, show them some love.
I feel we're giving them warmth. People say that children without mothers and fathers are like single blades of grass. I hope I can give the little I have to offer to warm them and make them feel a lot of people love them.
The caring atmosphere at the school has attracted community residents to come and help out too.
To look after so many children must be impossible, so I asked my friends and family to come and take part. In fact, a lot of them were already touched.
As more and more people come to volunteer at the school, the children no longer feel alone.
At Tzu Chi's year-end blessing ceremonies in the Philippines, care recipients, homeless people, slum residents, and other weak and vulnerable people were invited to celebrate the arrival of 2011. We take you behind the scenes as volunteers prepare wisdom and blessing red envelopes to hand out to the guests. In all, they folded a total of 6,500 little red packets.
Tzu Chi's Jingsa Hall in the Philippines looks something like a sweatshop today. From children to adults, everyone is working to meet the target of 6,500 wisdom and blessing envelopes.
For the year-end blessing red packets, every volunteer, our members and honorary directors, they look forward to them every year. Everyone wants to get a blessing from Master Zhen Yan and bring that blessing back to their homes.
Like volunteer Li Mei-ying says, an unprecedented crowd turns up for the annual gifts from Tzu Chi's founder.
We should make this a new year with a new life and new direction.
16-year-old Frenzy Lin Estanislao is ill with a bloated stomach that looks like she's pregnant. The young girl naturally prefers not to go outside to avoid curious stares.
I'm happy and grateful to them because somehow they're able to help us. I enjoyed this because there are times when I'm left alone and I'm not able to go outside.
Frenzy is one of the guests at this year-end blessing and distribution for care recipients and patients receiving healthcare support.
All I can say to the Tzu Chi Foundation is thank you very much because they help us a lot and my 4 siblings. In this little way, I say to them wholeheartedly that we're grateful although I lost my husband.
A total of 120 people voluntarily take home a Tzu Chi Bamboo Coin Bank. One of the recipients who is giving back to the charity is 54-year-old Muslim woman, Eram Makud.
I got a coin bank so I can help the beneficiaries of the Tzu Chi Foundation. I want to help so that I can help others who are sick.
When they collect their supplies, the faces of the guests beam with happiness. Behind the bright smiles are the blessings of Tzu Chi volunteers and the fortune of the recipients.
We have another year-end blessing ceremony for you in our next story, this time in Changshu of China's Jiangsu province. In the past, local volunteers had to go to Suzhou or Kunshan to take part in the annual celebrations. But this time the roles were reversed, as 30 Changshu volunteers were joined by 50 of their counterparts from Suzhou to help organize the first year-end blessing ceremony in the city. In 2 sessions, a total of 1,500 guests flocked through the door.
The temperature is below freezing, but something is pulling in the crowds. The attraction is the first year-end blessing event that Tzu Chi has organized in Changshu of China's Jiangsu province.
Because we have only just started in Changshu, there are not many volunteers. So for this large year-end blessing, around 50 to 60 volunteers arrived from Suzhou to organize it.
The songs, plays, sign language and films strike a chord with the audience.
When I saw it, I started to well up. It makes you feel like there is love everywhere.
Love is in the air at the year-end affair.
I feel like my spirits were raised because I've always wanted to do charity work but never had the chance.
Inspired, some of the participants sign up as volunteers.
Now Tzu Chi is in Changshu on our doorstep. We hope everyone take notice and learn about it. Everyone can be a volunteer.
The 2 year-end events attracted a combined audience of 1,500 people, getting Tzu Chi off to a good start in Changshu.
In spite of the recent cold weather, in southern Taiwan's Kaohsiung, Tzu Chi volunteers held one year-end blessing ceremony after another, reaching a total number of 53. The local Jinsi Hall alone held 24 rituals in just 8 days. That's all the time we have for. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.